Are you ready?
Here's Bryce, rolling out.
You think you can tell us what to wear?
Time to heave it deep.
Well, you better get ready.
Throws it shy of the goal line, and that ball is tipped around and caught.
Wow!
Caught. Oh, that's a touchdown!
Wow!
Break it down!
Welcome to the College Football X.
Welcome to another round of the College Football X Factor, hanging out with you to break down the entire weekend of college football, the good, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the good old GBU. And there was plenty of ugly. Marty is here, Phil is here, and I am here. Phil is awaiting which hurricane? Ian?
Ian.
Okay, so he
Not
is
to be confused with Ian Eagle or anything like that.
No,
or Ian Zierling.
Yes. So Phil is outside of his own office awaiting Hurricane Ian, and is teasing us on the video signal as to where he is inside his cabana.
Now, you can't hear this, but I am giving him the finger right now.
Yes, that is true. So if there's any laughter, it's because of what we're showing to each other in this particular go around. I'm in my office, Marty's in his, Phil is in the cabana, and we will discuss what has happened this past weekend. Guys, first and foremost, I'm just going to say that the boss and I. Yeah, go ahead.
Some ugly ass football this weekend,
and I saw it all. I was in Auburn with the boss. And she will stipulate that it was ugly ass football too. It was 3.5 hours of my life that I could not get back. It was two coaches that really looked like they did not want to be employed or should not be employed. Whether they still want to be employed means they would still be getting paychecks.
Now, more like they just looked like they didn't have the ability to coach a team.
Oh my God.
Maybe they're just playing hot potato for the win.
Well, so did the running.
No, you have it, Marty.
I don't want it. You take it.
No, but yeah, especially and the running back in the bottom of the first OT with a chance to win, and the ball just slips out of his hands as he's just about to.
I saw that. That was.
Yeah, it was awful game management. It was awful play calling, and it was just 60 minutes worth of awful suck and ugly ass football, and so. It was not the only place that had ugly-ass football. As we are discussing right now, it appears on Monday, the Georgia Tech Athletic Association is going to be meeting after yet another loss by Jeff Collins. And it appears that it's not just Jeff Collins' job that might be discussed, but apparently Todd Stansbury, the AD, as well. So you might get two firings in one at Georgia Tech on Monday.
That's a large flush.
Yeah, that was not good. How do you explain to pretty much anybody losing to UCF and not even in a close game?
Yeah.
You're what? They're now what? 0-3 or 0-4 on the season?
Yeah, they're over. Over the season.
And they haven't even been competitive.
No. Oh no.
They're going to hire Scott Frost as an interim coach. Bring back the triple option.
Well, see now, if they did that, there are people who are clamoring for the return to the triple option. It's like, be careful what you wish for. Actually, Georgia Tech did win, Phil. They beat Western Carolina in their second game of the year. And they have they go.
What if Georgia Tech won a game and nobody noticed?
Pretty much. So, yeah, lost to Clemson, beat Western Carolina, lost to Ole Miss, and Lane Kiffin admitted that he called off the Dogs up 42-0 because he felt sorry for Jeff Collins and his job status. And then 27-10 to UCF. They go to Pitt this upcoming week before the remainder of their ACC schedule. So, good luck with that.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. I'm trying to buzz through any other ugly ass football that was there. Marty,
you have to talk about. Marty, did you see the Arkansas game with the doink field goal?
Oh my God!
I was during the Ohio State game, so I missed it, but I did see the field goal. So now, correct me if I'm wrong. But isn't the NFL upright taller than the college one?
I believe so, yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So if that was played at a college stadium, that might have been ended up being a judgment call
Yeah.
for the referees.
True.
It could very well have been, and I believe if it had gone, if they could see that it went over the actual crossbar but not outside the crossbar, I think it would have been good.
Yeah.
There's going to be some saltiness when they're talking about that.
Well, and then, I mean, you had the KJ Jefferson moment earlier in the game where he's trying to reach over the pile and the ball hits a helmet, pops into the air. Texas A&M guy, ATM player, runs the other way, gets stood up, and he kind of just hands it to his teammate, and it's run back for a. So let me see if I got this right. Fumble recovery, handoff,
or an assist.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the logistics of that because it's not technically a scoop and score because there was a handoff involved, Marty.
Push and score?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, it's like
pushed it over to one guy.
Yeah, it's like here. It's like a handoff and then it goes for a score. But yeah, that one was pretty dumb. And so ATM comes out with the winner there for the Southwest Classic, as it's now called, with those two schools.
It's too bad Wilkie's been on the COVID list for the last 2 weekends. I'd really like to hear his thoughts on this game.
Yeah, and other than the general insanity that was attached to it, so that one had its own little half-passed batch of crazy.
That's going to save some editing since he's not here with some of the colorful language that might go with that description.
Absolutely true. Okay, Marty, since you brought it up, since we're talking top 25, Georgia had their problems early with Kent for distancing themselves there. Alabama scored 55 of the 58 points in their game against Vanderbilt. And then Ohio State put 52 on Wisconsin, and it really didn't seem it was that close.
Oh, not at all. They had the blackout. So they broke out the black for black's sake uniforms, which I got to say have grown on me a good bit. I really like the chrome Buckeye leaves on the corners.
So, I mean, well, here's a question for you. Why are you doing that at a game you know you're going to win by 110-7 as opposed to doing it to a big game?
Well, you don't want to do it during the Michigan game. That one should be like USC, UCLA, where they both wear their home jerseys. But I was kind of surprised by how big of a win that was, considering they only had 3 scholarship corners, and none of them were starters.
Yeah, but it's against Wisconsin, who couldn't complete a pass against the 3 of us in the defensive backfield.
Yeah, but they're also supposed to have some defense. They were.
Yeah, they were.
Their ranking just tumbled.
Yes. Wisconsin let's see, CJ Stroud 17 of 27, 281 and 5 on the day. So
both running backs over 100 yards.
Yep, and a solid day for TOSU. Michigan struggled with Maryland in the top 25, which I thought.
I watched that. That was close up until the end.
Okay.
And then the quarterback, they pulled out the quarterback at the end. He was a little dinged up, but he was leading them. And then there was 2 scores, so they put in their backup, and he drove them down and got them to within another score.
Yeah, Baby Tagovailoa is not a bad football player.
No.
That kid that came in after him did well too.
The fact that Maryland kept that close did not surprise me. I mean, that's a tighter game. I've got to go off the grid for a game to talk about here real quick, though. Did you see what happened with the Stephen F. Austin game?
Oh, Warner? Yeah.
Yeah, the Bionic Men scored 98 points.
That's
against an NAIA school.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently, when they
took a knee to avoid going 100.
Well, yeah, they took a knee to keep the PAT to go from 99 or go for 2. I guess they went for 2 and took a knee or something. They could have gotten 100 points. So I guess, that you look at a matchup like that, and I was going to talk about this one, and I'm glad you brought it up. But I just hope 2 things. I hope was compensated well. As someone's chasing after Phil.
Phil, you need to talk every so often so that goes away.
Okay.
Because your microphone will start riding up, so it amplifies whatever's behind you. When you don't talk for a while, we start hearing music and choppers.
There you go. That's good job.
Yeah. We just had one of those One of those tourist choppers just flew by.
Sorry.
I
But,
can talk. I've had a couple of beers, so I'll be able to talk and keep talking and not shut up.
yeah, well, and the other thing I hope for those kids from Warner is I hope that they look past this one and that the remainder of their season isn't impacted in NAIA play after losing 98-0. That's
It's basically a paycheck game for them. It's like
Yeah, but how much can Stephen F. Austin afford to pay?
yeah.
true, but it's going to be more than they would have gotten had they played a home game.
It's true. And I feel sorry for whoever they play next week because they're going to come out pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they get back down on their level, yeah, I would look out for them.
Yeah. I mean, it's they're part of the Sun Conference last time I checked in the NAIA, but I mean, it's 98-0. You just kind of sit there and shake your head and you're just like, come on, man.
Yeah. That should have been called off. I'm assuming they went to the shorter fourth quarter, which is an option in college football now if both coaches agree to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for a fact.
That's probably more embarrassing than in 98.
Exactly. All right. So speaking of embarrassing, how about Kansas State beating Oklahoma?
Really, are you that surprised? Adrian Martinez is a good football player. He was a good football player at Nebraska, but he was playing at Nebraska.
Yeah, he was my favorite quarterback in 2010.
He left.
Yeah. That was the other thing I was going to say. He's also
How does he got that much eligibility?
He's on the Freddie Wagan plan.
True.
He was in the Big Ten for like 9 years.
Yes.
Yes.
That is true.
Yes.
He's outlived 2 Ohio State coaches.
And I mean, on the day he led KSU in rushing with 4 touchdowns, was responsible for 5, had 148 on the ground. And K-State, so Oklahoma is not OKLAHOMA. And they're down to 3. I had to go. That was an easy. So all of this hype with Venables, right now you're 3-1, and now you're back to the pack. You're back to the pack. You're Oklahoma now.
Yeah, you got Oklahoma State and Baylor to worry about in your conference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you think about it, like quite a few other teams early on in the season, they were rated really high because of their name.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really know how good a team's going to be or if a team's going to be confident when they're pushed until they're actually pushed in a game.
Yeah.
And this may prove that either Kansas State is drastically underrated or Oklahoma was way overrated. And I'm kind of going with the latter of the two there.
Yeah, right now.
So Big 12 now has Kansas 4-0 overall.
How about
And
that?
number 1, followed by Baylor.
Leopold,
Ah,
the greatest coach in college football history.
And Kansas State is 3rd, or I guess it's a 3-way tie.
hey, take it. You know, I'm all for chaos. I'm absolutely for chaos here. Yeah.
I mean, obviously the cupboard wasn't that bare at Kansas.
Yeah.
A couple of changes. Jalen Daniels is one hell of a good football player.
Yeah.
And you surround him with a competent supporting cast, which it appears that they've done, and all of a sudden Kansas looks like a legit football team. Duke, granted it was Duke, but they were also 3-0 going into the game.
Daniels had the second highest QPR on the day with a 98. So, hey, yeah, you tip your hat to Lance Leipold. It's like 4-0, and Marty, to your point, 3 other teams right now at 1-0 in the Big 12. But
I'm not kidding myself to think that Kansas is going to the college football playoff, but they're going to be bowl eligible this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's. God,
half the teams in the Big 12 are 3-1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me see if I can find quickly where. It's because they're not ranked. So then should Kansas be ranked? I guess is my next question. But
they'll hit the top 25. They may end up being like number 22 or something this week, but they'll be in the top 25.
Yeah, because I don't know why, but Texas was still 22 going into the week.
Because Texas is back.
Yeah, back to 500 ball, 2-2.
It's one of the many things you can count on being said at the early part of every single college football season. Are the Longhorns back?
Yes, they are. Back to what? But all right.
They're back as in they return to the field, but they're not back because they're still not. They're still pretty mediocre.
They'll be back to the state fair.
True.
Shortly.
All right, so here's the run-in for Kansas after the 4-0. Got Iowa State and TCU at home. Then you go on the road to Oklahoma and Baylor. Then you have Oklahoma State come to you. You go to Lubbock to take on Texas Tech. Texas comes to you week before Thanksgiving, and the day after Thanksgiving, you finish your season with Apple. That's a rough run-in, but you can really do something there with those home games.
Have to be quiet.
No.
We don't have to be quiet.
So
the rest of my party came back to the beach hut here and asked if they needed to be quiet, and I said no.
Oh, no, it's all part of it. Let's see. Oregon scored 29 points in the fourth.
Right now.
Washington State. Did you guys see? Did you see? In Baylor and Iowa State, where Matt Campbell took a timeout just to yell at the officials.
I did not.
Matt Campbell got so mad he called timeout and wanted to yell at the officials in the timeout. No other reason. He just wanted to yell. He just wanted to yell at the officials for calls for a crackback.
Did it start out with "Now I have your undivided attention"?
Well, and then Billy Napier had to.
That's what I was going to say. I saw the video of Billy Napier blowing a gasket and had to be held back by 5 people.
3 of them get back coaches, I imagine. So that was an intriguing bit of it as well. Texas Tech beating Texas in overtime. Here's one we haven't talked about. Middle Tennessee and Miami.
Is Miami back? Well, they returned to the football field.
Big.
Telling you.
Oh man.
They haven't been back since Ohio State broke them.
No, they really haven't.
Big win for Rick Stockstill and the Middle Tennessee State. Middle Tennessee got $40,000 in travel expenses. I think it was 40. It's either 30 or 40. Plus $1.5 million.
Oh, new ATM this week.
You better run to the bank first thing in the morning, brother, with that check. Make sure that it gets deposited appropriately. But that's just.
And they got to spend the weekend in Miami.
Well, but it rained. They had to kind of celebrate in the rain at Hard Rock when it was over because it had. It was, welcome to September as a hurricane's coming. But
those Miami boosters just throwing money, making it rain. Woo!
That was not pretty. Let's see. Iron Skillet, TCU and SMU. TCU wins because of a leaping call.
Okay, you don't hear that very often.
42 seconds to go, and SMU got a leaping penalty called on them, which is a personal foul. They had a chance to get the ball back, but on a punt, they got called for leaping. And so TCU got to run out the clock, and they got the win, the Iron Skillet.
And SMU apparently did not know how to take tickets.
No?
So they had a huge problem with getting people into the stadium.
Oops.
God.
I heard stories of people waiting as long as an hour to get in.
Oh, no.
And it's not it's a high school stadium, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Robertson, it's like the single level, right?
It's small.
Home of your, it's just, that's bad. See, Notre Dame knocked off North Carolina. North Carolina's defense is awful.
We know that.
Episode 4.
Can we talk about your alma mater there, John? 4-0 now after a huge win against Boston College. They just pounded them.
Yeah, whatever.
Can you admit that they're back?
No, absolutely no. Under no circumstance am I going to admit that we're back. Because what has happened on this show, every single time we have admitted someone is back.
I know.
Just saying, you guys are going to be in a bowl game this year.
Woo! I
They're
mean,
looking. They're looking as good as anybody in the average coastal conference.
The Average Coast Conference. Yeah, that really is not saying a whole heck of a lot.
No, it's not. But winning that conference is could get them into a nice game.
God, yeah, and then they'll get whacked. Let's see. Before we head to break, was there anything else, gentlemen, stuck out to all of you on this?
No.
Marty, was there anything that stuck out in your mind?
The one thing was kind of funny seeing Herb Street's son, who's a walk-on at Ohio State, get into the game, and they were kind of jokingly cheering him on. He got in garbage time at the end of the fourth, and he was like, "Come on, son, get out there, hit somebody, maul him," during the game. It was so that game got so out of oh God. Oh no, the other two, the twins are over there. The son that's younger is a walk-on tight end.
Yeah.
So Herbie the youngest is the walk-on tight end and the Herbie.
No, there's one younger, and they actually had him in the booth, and they brought him out, and then people were joking that was a NCAA violation because that cost him a linebacker that ended up going to Penn State a while back, Micah Parsons.
I've heard of him.
You might have heard of him.
Yeah, he's okay. Last time I checked. But yeah, so we're probably going to have, by the time we come back next week and we're all in our respective offices one more time, we will have more coaches fired and some that will be anticipating getting fired.
Oh yes.
We should start a block pool.
Okay, so all right, so what's the what's the pool this week? What's the parameters?
Yeah, you can't say Jeff Collins because that's a gimme.
Yeah. So Jeff Collins, we know, is off to the side. I would say, actually, tell you what, let's think about it in the commercial break. We'll come back and talk about it. So that's the A block of the College Football X. We're going to talk about other stuff. We're going to talk about coaches in the week that will be coming up in just a little bit. While Phil is waiting, Hurricane Ian. Marty and I are actually in our offices as it chooses the command. Blue skies.
I wish we had video this week.
Yeah, you do. The two of us in our offices are like, yeah, whatever, dude. So for Marty and Phil, I'm John. We're going to commercial. X continues after this.
If you're a veteran looking to file for your service-connected benefits through the Department of Veterans Affairs, don't go it alone. AMVET's highly trained service officers stand ready to walk you through the process at VA regional offices around the country, helping you to navigate the complex VA system free of charge. With new presumptions for Agent Orange exposure and other conditions, AMVETS can offer you the advice you need to finally receive all of your earned benefits. In 2009 alone, AMVETS helped process more than 65,000 claims and appeals, securing more than $410 million in benefits. To find your nearest AMVET service officer or to learn more, visit amvets.org.
All right, pick it back up. Here we go in 3. Welcome back to the second half of the show. You've made it past the bands at halftime and all the other entertainment. You've gotten your highlight packages and all your sponsor elements, and it's time to look at the week that will be. The question that we get to break. All right, so the parameters for the firing line as we head into the first day of October. I'll go with Brian Harsin. I'll go ahead and say that one because with LSU coming to town, one of two things is going to happen, and it's going to be chaos, and he's going to continue to keep his job, or LSU is going to come in and sit there and laugh because they already have all of the film that they ever needed on TJ Finley and not worry about it and blow out Auburn, and Brian Harsin is out of the job. So I will go Brian Harsin for me to death.
Now, doing a lot of research, which means Googling Coach's Hot Seat, I've actually found a website called coachesHotSeat.com.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually list Jeff Scott from South Florida as the number 1 hot seat right now.
Okay.
He's been pretty bad.
David Shaw, Stanford, number 2.
Okay.
Carl Durrell of Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Durrell's been
pretty awful, too.
And they had the Carl Durrell Bowl this past weekend, by the way. against UCLA.
Now, I'm going to butcher this name for Navy, but Ken Niumatalo.
Coach Ken. Yeah, Niumatalolo.
I'm going to get trouble from the family for that one.
Just say Coach Ken. You'll be all right. Coach Ken. Coach Ken has been on the seat's been kind of warm for a while, so I understand.
He's got number 4. 5's Butch Jones at Arkansas State.
Okay.
Georgia Tech, we already talked about. He checks in at 6. Jimbo Fisher at 7.
No.
I'd probably rank him higher.
Yeah.
Louisville checks in at 8. Pat Fitzgerald at Northwestern at 9, and rounding out 10 is Tim Albin from OU, or the other OU.
Yeah, well, considering we'll get into that game in just a little
bit.
Yeah, but considering that Fitzgerald lost to Miami of Ohio this past week, and I think they're now 1-3.
Yeah.
I would have Fitzgerald higher. Jimbo's basically going to say, fire me, considering he's got that $90 million on the table.
Yeah, and they're not. While A&M bleeds money, they're not going to bleed that much money.
Right.
They still owe a lot to recruits.
That is true. And the firm is more than happy to pay it, but we've got to know who the firm is and have to be public. I think a lot of those make a lot of sense. But with that top 10 from college sack race or whatever it is, college coach's hot seat.
CoachesHotSeat.com.
CoachesHotSeat.com that gets the necessary plug this week. I'm still going to go off the board to Brian Harsin as they're going into the bye week, losing to LSU.
Oh, they have a bye after LSU?
I believe that is accurate. Yes, sir.
Oh, he's toast. Unless Auburn somehow wins that game like 48-10.
No, not happening. No, that is definitely not happening. Let's see. Actually, their bye week is after Ole Miss, so they've got a while. So here's LSU. Then you go to Georgia. Then you go to Ole Miss. Then you have your bye week on October 22nd.
Yeah, it might be getting through the month.
Yeah, so right before the Arkansas.
You won't lose the bye week.
Yeah, but you'll be 3-1, 2, 3. You'll be 3-4 going into the bye week, probably embarrassed by Georgia in a pick a score game and Ole Miss. So so I'll go bye week. But I still think he gets fired.
Oh, yeah.
The bye week's usually a good time to get the interim guy up to speed.
Yeah.
Well, and they've also got an interim AD, too. So they've figured out who they want to hire for AD, although the current guy, who was their old compliance guy, might be the guy. But, yeah, that one, I'm still Parsons where my money's at. I think the patience gets lost with that particular
Auburn football, the least secure coaching job in America, 10 years running.
Well, and then you got Notre Dame too, so Notre Dame could be in that discussion. All right.
Now, our coach that went last week in Arizona.
Yes.
There was talk that there were people on the staff.
Oh, Arizona.
Giving away trade secrets.
Yeah.
To help get him out the door.
Yeah. If you were that mad at Herm Edwards.
But those guys they're going to be untouchable if that comes out to be true.
Absolutely.
Like there's no way that anybody would hire a self-sabotaging staff.
But guys, you play to win the game.
Yeah, but Herm Edwards didn't do that a lot in Tempe.
And his assistants were giving away the signs and the play calls and the strategy for the following week to the other team.
How hated do you have to be for that to happen?
How toxic is that when that goes down? That's the biggest thing. That's a toxic environment there. And Arizona State really they got Utah out of the blocks, and I think they were held to negative rushing yards. Yeah, first game out of the blocks with an interim coach, you got negative rushing yards going up against Utah. Thanks for dropping by.
Yeah.
All right, so let's play cliffhanger here with the games that are the big names on the board. Michigan and Iowa at Kinnick. Oklahoma TCU at Amon Carter. Kentucky Ole Miss. That's an interesting one to throw.
That could be a good matchup. Kentucky struggled a little bit this past week, but then again, so did everybody else. They beat Northern Illinois 31-24, and Will Levis had an okay game. but I think that they'll be up to the better competition, and I would look for them to beat Ole Miss, but I think it's going to be a good game.
Texas Tech and Kansas State at Bill Snyder
I need to
Family
figure out how I was going to get back and forth from the airport.
A little bit of a hang.
Got
It's going to be a hangover game for Tech.
Yeah. Utah's got Oregon State, who probably should have beaten UC. Alabama, Arkansas in Fayetteville this week. 3:30.
Interesting.
I could probably find someone to take it.
The
Tickets.
natives will be frothing at the mouth for that one.
Oh yeah, Alabama right now is a 2-touchdown favorite, 14.5. I'll take Arkansas.
Conway that would be willing to do that, although.
Yeah, that will be must-see TV on Saturday afternoon.
Marty,
that'll be the CBS
I'm having
game.
trouble hearing.
Yeah, no, it's so Phil, mute off when you don't want to talk, or maybe I will mute you. How about that?
Or just tell them to step a little bit farther away from him.
There, I've muted Phil. All right, so you've got Ruggers, and
Oh, that's going to be ugly.
yeah, that's going to be an ugly one. Let's see, buzzing down the list, Oklahoma State and Baylor. That's an interesting one.
That'll be close.
Yeah, Baylor right now is a 1-point favorite as we're all talking here.
So as far as the juice box counters go, it's a toss-up.
Yes, within the margin of error. Wake and my school in Tallahassee, FSU once again a 3-point favorite in the early line, but Wake Forest, after losing in like 72 overtimes to Clemson, 51-45, you get to see Hartman. And Phil's having lunch. I see what he's doing. So now that he's muted off, he's actually having lunch. I see how this works. So Northwestern is at Penn State. That might be the end for Pat Fitzgerald. So maybe Pat Fitzgerald gets to the front of the line if he gets blown out by Penn State.
I think Northwestern would let him finish out the year, though.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll just the wheels turning, but I think they kind of do things a little classier down there.
Yep.
Or up there, I guess.
It's Iowa State and Kansas. Interesting. So is Kansas for real? And what does Iowa State bring to the table? That one for me is an interesting one.
Yeah, because they both have good records right now. And that'll tell you that's probably going to tell you how the Big 12's gonna turn.
Iowa State 3-1, 0-1 in the Big 12 with their loss, where Matt Campbell yelled at officials, and Kansas was 1-0 in the Big 12 right now at 4-0. Scanning other games, we got a lot of action. Oh, that's right. I was going to discuss. Was it Fordham and Ohio? That was, Fordham and Ohio. Fordham lost to Ohio 59-52. The kid for Ohio University, Curtis Rourke, single game passing record, 537 yards and 4 TDs. The last one with 52 seconds to go for the 59-52 win, where Ohio, you had to score 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Isn't Fordham still 1AA?
Yeah.
Okay. They're always a tough 1AA. Like they're always in the playoff hunt. But
yeah. The leading receiver for Ohio, by the way, actually the leading receiver on the day was a kid for Fordham, and he's all name team, guarantee it. Fotis Kokosiulis.
Nice.
Fotis Kokosiulis, 13 catches for 320 and 4 scores for Fordham. So Tim DeMore at 27-35 for 5 spins on the dial, 503 for passing for Fordham. And they had 137 yards on the ground, so 640 net yards of offense. Ohio had 692 net yards of offense in the 59-52 game for the ages with Ohio U and Fordham.
Goodness gracious.
Oh, I know. That's a crazy one. As I sit here and kind of scan through the remainder of the day, I'm now into the night side looking at North Texas, Florida Atlantic coming to Epigee. 2-3 and 2-3. Tickets as low as $15 to get into the stadium in Denton to watch Florida Atlantic and North Texas.
Yeah, hopefully they got their act together. I'm a former employee of North Texas, and I heard a lot of complaints about they had people working the stadium wearing other colleges' gear.
No.
I'm going to talk again.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What about it?
You skipped over so many things that I couldn't unmute myself for.
So again, recap. What did I skip over?
Florida State and Wake, whole bunch of other games.
So hit me. What's going on?
Kansas is for real.
Okay.
They'll beat Iowa State if it's in Kansas. Where are they playing?
It's in Kansas.
They'll beat Iowa State, wow the world, become a top 20 team, and then lose. Yeah, I can't say the kid from Fordham's name either because it's
Lotus Kokosioulis, 14 for 320 and 5.
Is tight, and isn't that a side dish at a Greek restaurant?
Maybe. Get a side of Kokosioulis, and it might be the way. That is true.
He works just down the street from WGCL.
Oh, it's not WGCL anymore.
It's Atlanta's News First. They've changed mic flags again.
I've got 3 different ones from my 2 years there.
You and me both, brother.
I have 6 from my first 6.
Yep. Yeah, they're now A&F, which really stands for America Needs Farmers. They're stealing from Iowa. They're stealing acronyms from University of Iowa.
Yes.
A&F, America Needs Farmers, or Atlanta's News First. Take your pick.
Are there any other games that look interesting on the board since I don't really have a schedule in front of me?
NC State and Clemson at Death Valley. Clemson's an 8-point favorite at 7:30.
Yeah, Clemson's kind of shaky. I think they're another team that's kind of nothing. They are overrated.
Yeah.
Dabo Swinney threatening to play quarterback this past game. That should tell you something right there. And I don't care if DJ Ukulele threw for 5 touchdowns. He's a slightly above average quarterback.
Yeah. But to answer your question, as you continue to eat lunch on the Gulf Coast, the answer, sir, is no. That's about the extent of all of the games that are worth anything next week.
Okay. We covered lots of ground then. I really need to go get in the ocean.
So then go get in the ocean. Marty and I will wrap up.
Okay. I'll be home next. Yeah, I'll be.
He'll be in the office.
Yeah, you might have to make an edit, but I will be in the office on this coming Sunday.
No. There will be no edits for this show. Go eat. Go take a dip in the Gulf while it's still safe to do so before eating.
Yes. And Cher is going to New York on Sunday, so I will be home by myself with the dogs.
Yes, there you go. So just be safe and swim with the tide, sir. We'll catch up with you in the office next week. Aloha.
May the force be with you.
Mahalo. Marty and I will wrap up.
Stay safe.
Yes, that more than anything else.
Watch out for storms.
Yes, latter part of the week. So
I will do my best to avoid Ian.
Yes, yeah, avoid Ian. That's always a good plan. So go spend time with the boss and go spend time in the Gulf and just get home safe. And we'll catch up with you next week, sir. Bye. All right. So Marty, as we have the one who's staring at the Gulf of Mexico and continue to tease us with the Gulf of Mexico in a lot of his
shameful.
Shameful. Put a bow on this past weekend for me, and what are you looking for? What are some of your storylines heading forward?
I'm looking. This is going to be weird, but I'm looking at Iowa and Michigan because I'm being our resident Big Ten homer.
True.
Michigan did not show much this past week, and Iowa never shows much offensively, but defensively. This might actually give them a test because they haven't really played anybody. I mean, they didn't play anybody this week, and they had trouble.
Yes.
So if Iowa can actually score like they did this week against inferior competition, might we see Michigan tumble a little bit?
Yeah.
I'd also like to see the Eastern Washington Florida game since they're playing out of they're playing up a division.
Well, and also remember that is right in the crosshairs of Ian. So
is this going to end up being neutral site?
Well, I mean, depends on which direction Ian drifts, but at the very least, if Ian drifts west and works his way more toward the panhandle than the middle section of the state of Florida, conditions could be interesting. It's Ben Hill Griffin Stadium with 1-2 Eastern Washington coming in for a paycheck to play 2-2 Florida, who's coming into this week before the polls change, number 20. Could be interesting. According to the secondary ticket market, you can get in the door for as low as $18, especially if it's meteorologically challenged. I could definitely see that. But no, it's Florida. Florida has stumbled in the past, and I know that and it's a letdown situation with the game with Tennessee.
Yep.
How do they respond when a 1AA team comes to town? And does Anthony Richardson regress? Do they look past this one? How do the Eagles of Eastern Washington look? Does Florida take care of business and try to get out of trouble? So that's
now, not just the Storm, but this has been the year of paycheck games going the wrong way.
True, absolutely.
So that's kind of why that stood out to me. Plus, I like graduating from a 1AA program. I always pull for those guys, and I'd like to see that as an upset.
I am all for chaos. You and I both are for chaos here. We definitely live and breathe those kinds of events. I'm trying to see, since you mentioned it, in 1AA, Holy Cross and Harvard. That's on Saturday. Missouri State, North Dakota, who played up against Division I competition. That one is on Saturday in the lower divisions. Kennesaw State gets a buzzsaw in Jacksonville State at Burgess Snow. Youngstown, oh, wow. Youngstown State at North Dakota State in the Fargo Dome.
That's almost like playing up a division with that school.
Yeah. Wow.
Youngstown's been doing well this year, but we didn't score a touchdown last week against Kentucky, but they held them to 22 points, which is in itself is pretty. I mean, I hate moral victories, but that's a moral victory.
Yeah. Youngstown beat Duquesne, who covered against Florida State, by the way.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Backdoor cover against Florida State. Then you beat Dayton. Then you lose to Kentucky. You're at the Fargo Dome, and then you host North Dakota for a 6 o'clock kick, not this Saturday, but the 8th. You host the Hawks of North Dakota at a 6 o'clock kick in Youngstown on the 8th. That's interesting that you've got North Dakota State and North Dakota back to back before you get into the rest of your schedule.
That's a little crazy. I got to double check when homecoming is.
Yeah.
Now, does the Arizona State USC count as playing up a division?
Well, for USC, it might be playing down a division.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Arizona State's the 1AA school in this scenario. At
this point right now, yeah. And there's a lot of talk that Brian Harsin, there's whispers that Harsin could be headed to Arizona State, and a lot of the fans, supporters, and boosters currently of the Auburn program are like, don't let the door hit you in the butt on the way out. Yeah, they're like, go. Arizona State wants you, go. Because right now, if the buyout was to happen, it would be $7.5 million ish due within the first 30 days, and then the other 7.5 due, I think, by the end of the calendar year. So that's what, $15 million. That's what you're looking at for dispensing of a coach.
I wish I could suck at my job that bad and get that kind of buyout.
I know. I'm right there with you, brother. I'm trying to sit here and scan through 1AA and see if there's anything else to pay attention to. Prairie View and Grambling. That's an interesting one. That'll be at the Cotton Bowl on Saturday night. That one will be a fun one.
Now, the one I always love is more people are hyped up about the halftime show.
Oh, of course.
Because I've been there for that, and the halftime show is more energy than the game.
Oh,
unbelievable.
Yeah, and when they had the early kickoff classic at Georgia State during week 1, the four-letter did something very, very smart. They had an all-22 on the field that showed both bands, the MEAC SWAC Challenge. They had an all-22 on the field that you could dial up so you could just see the band performances in full at the half. That was very, very smart.
Nice.
Very, very smart play on their part. But that's part of the 1AA-ness and also everything else that's going on. I see you smiling because of what I just said, and I'm just going to let that right on go. So that's an interesting thought with Eastern Washington and Florida. So I will be right there with you. I will be watching from the confines of the office. I will be watching Auburn and LSU. I will not be getting rained on. That is for damn sure next week with everyone. But obviously, just make sure that if you're anywhere in Ian's path or anywhere in the flight plan for Ian, just be safe. Be safe and be well, and make sure that you're with us next week here on the College Football X. Everything going on. Audio this week. We'll get back to video next week when Phil decides that he wants to return from the Gulf in Central Florida. Last word is yours before we go.
Oh, goodness. I don't know what to say, so I'm going to have to go to the old go-through. Please like and subscribe.